McFl, 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 Breaking news, MCFL fans. Before we get into the power rankings, we have a live video of former Cardinals owner Trenton Hunter.
My name's Trenton and I hate Madden! I should never write another open letter! Don't freaking read my letter! I hate J. Barnes and Rabbit! I hate everyone! I hate Madden! I'll be back, MCFL! I'll be back! You better watch out, MCFL! Ah!
Best of luck, Trenton. Alright, now it's time for the power rankings. And dead last, we have the worst team of all time, the 0-13 Titans. No one knows if they will get a win this year, but I can tell you it has been an ugly season. At 31, the ownerless Redskins. At 30, the Saints. 29, Ravens. 28, Texans. All of those teams 2-11, struggling this year. Their heart's there, but the talent isn't. Hopefully these teams can turn it around moving forward. On to 27 through 23, starting with Bees 5-8 this year, great improvement from last year. 26, a very disappointed Falcons team sitting at 3-10. At 25, I've got to say the 4-9 Chiefs have improved this year, looking better. Perhaps the most improved team is our 24th team, ORH's Steelers, looking much better this year, sitting at 5-8. And that brings us to the biggest disappointment in the league this year, sitting at 23, the 3-10 Rams, playoff team last year. Simple strategy, I guess, of just running the ball in that triple option, picking up 100 players and dropping 100. But this year, it has not worked at all. And now, a quick word from our sponsor.
Doesn't Miller Lite taste great?
Yeah, but I drink it because it's
Extra crispy.
Great taste.
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 When watching the worst team in the MCFL, the Tennessee Titans, enjoy Miller Lite and don't worry about watching the game because it will be ugly.
Now back to the power rankings. At 22, a playoff team from last year, the Bucs, sitting at 6-7 this year. The Panthers have played better in the worst division in football this year, so they will not be sneaking in with that 500 record. At 21, the 49ers, Dragon Slayer, probably could have won this division if the Seahawks didn't come in with Chicken Rat, sitting at 6-7. 20 is the Bills, 5-8. 19 is the Cardinals, 5-8. Both those teams have to be disappointed in how they performed this year. That brings us to the 18. The 7-6 Lions still got a shot at the playoffs. Loves to run the ball down there in Detroit. Much improved from last year. We'll see how he finishes out and see if he is for real. At 17, we got the Cowboys. Last year when I made this video, we're in the same spot and they choked down the stretch. When this team is on, they're one of the best in the MCFL, but they don't know what consistency means down there in Dallas. At 16, I got the Bears, even though they're 6-7. A lot of people might think this is too high, but keep in mind they've taken a lot of stim losses. I think if the Bears could get some more time to play, I think this could be a real good team moving forward. The Vikings at 15, the likely winners of their division if they can take care of business down the stretch. 8-5, a lot of people think I should have them higher, but I just don't think the Vikings are that much of a threat going into the playoffs. That brings us to a fan favorite at 14, Officer Debo Johnson, 7-6. In that tough AFC this year, I feel like he's going to be on the outside looking in, but that doesn't mean he doesn't belong here in these power rankings. Keep in mind, these Colts won a playoff game last year, so if they were to miss the playoffs this year, it would be a big disappointment. And at 13, the 10-3 Panthers. A lot of people think they should be higher with a 10-3 record, but I'm just not a believer in these Panthers. They play in the weakest division in the MCFL, and I really don't see them winning a playoff game coming out of that weak division. At number 12, the number one team in fans' hearts, the New York Jets, 7-6, not going to make the playoffs in this tough AFC, but it doesn't matter. They guaranteed the Super Bowl year 3, not year 2. Great improvement from 4-12 last year. This team will be number 1 in the power rankings probably next year and on. These Jets love to play football, and the fans love the Jets for it. At 11, another fan favorite, Mad Money, the Commissioner. 7-6, still has a chance to win his division and get in the playoffs. Big disappointment losing his first game last year. But we actually have film of his new training techniques. Supposedly he picked these up from the Broncos. Little controversial, but let's take a look at what's going on in the Packers training.
TJ, can you handle this? David, can you handle this? Clay, can you handle this? I don't think they can handle this. I don't think you're ready for this jelly. I don't think you're ready for this jelly. I don't think you're ready for this, cause my body's too bootylicious for you, babe. I don't think you're ready for this jelly. I don't think you're ready for this jelly. My booty. I don't think you're ready for this, cause my body's too bootylicious for you, babe.
Wow, things have really changed in Green Bay. Back to the power rankings at 10, Chicken Rat the Seahawks. I think this team has a chance to go far in the playoffs. If he didn't take over late, I feel like he'd be number 1, 2, or 3 in these power rankings. 7-6, he's going to win his division. He's going to be in the playoffs. Look for him to make some things happen in the playoffs. At 9, another victim of the tough AFC, Jay Barnes, 7-6, likely to miss the playoffs as those Broncos and Raiders sneak in. Still a great player. Got to be disappointed missing the playoffs this year, but look for him to bounce back in arguably the toughest division outside of that AFC West. And that brings us to probably a surprise here for a lot of teams. The Jags controversially sold a lot of their players last year. 9-4 this year, likely to be a playoff team. Let's see if he can do anything in the playoffs, though, because keep in mind, he is a little bit of a weaker team after trading some big players. Coming in at 7, you got Motown Destroyer, famous for beating those Packers last year in the playoffs. 9-4, going to be a playoff team this year. NFC's a little weaker than the AFC, so this could be your team that comes out if the Eagles were to struggle. And speaking about how tough the AFC is, specifically the AFC West, Bully be like 10-3, 6th in our power rankings, and he's the 3rd best team in the division. He will be a playoff team, but I still can't see him getting by those other teams in his division. It's a real tough division, and poor Be-Like is the one who struggles the most because of it. At 5, the one-loss Dolphins. Good team last year, great team this year. Can move the ball on the ground, can pass on you. Going to be a playoff team, but like I said, this AFC is tough, so we'll see what happens once he gets into those playoffs. And at 4, perhaps the best running team in the league, the Cleveland Browns, Mike Motorbike, 11-2. Really curious to see how this team does in the playoffs. They seem to beat the crap out of the worst teams, but struggles against some of the top teams. So I'm interested to see how he does in these playoffs. Now on to the top 3, starting with Chewbacca Llama, the Chargers. 10-3, probably a little disappointed. Probably thought Jay Cutler was going to lead him to an undefeated season. Keep in mind, this was a Super Bowl loser last year. Got a lot of rivalries going. He's got a rivalry with the Raiders, got a rivalry with the Commissioner, got a rivalry with Rabbit. Says his fans don't like the MCFL, no longer streaming his games. They're highly controversial, but at the end of the day, the guy is a good Madden player, and he's going to be a team that you have to look out for in the playoffs. And speaking of the playoffs, the defending Super Bowl champion Eagles, Boss Hog, 11-2, the king of the MCFL, looks to defend his title this year. Probably the favorite to win it all in the NFC, but due to a new player, our player who's at number 1, it's going to be difficult. And that player is Polo Red, the surprise of the MCFL. 13-0 after trading his whole team for draft picks. He's young. This Broncos team is dangerous. They're young. They're going to be at the top for years to come. But 13-0, first question, will he stay undefeated in the regular season? And more importantly, will he get it done in the playoffs when it matters? Running the score up left and right, creating controversy. This team's great for the MCFL because, as we know, controversy sells. Moving forward, the big question will be, can he get it done in the playoffs? Can he dethrone the defending champs? And can he be good enough to bring back the Great Rabbit? Thanks for watching, MCFL fans, and look forward to the upcoming playoffs in year 2.